Well, he may go to jail, but he may go to jail. That's the point. So Nigel Farage, on this basis...
Are you going to let me speak, or are you just going to yell at me the whole time?
Wow. I'm not sitting here to be spoken to like that, so maybe I'll just...
No,
I'm not having it. Layla, you think you're special? You're not, OK? Sorry, absolutely not being spoken to like that, Patrick.
The moment the pressure hits, it stops being about the scandal and starts being about hurt feelings. That's always the tell. When politicians can't defend the decision, they defend their pride. Instead of answers, you get shouting. Instead of accountability, you get attitude. And tonight, what you're about to watch isn't a calm defense of government judgment, it's a slow, very public collapse, as Labour figures try to justify something that simply can't be justified, appointing a man linked to Epstein to one of the most sensitive jobs in British politics.
Layla, why hasn't a single Labour cabinet minister resigned over this?
Because they're disgusting. Honestly, I'm so disgusted that Keir Starmer stands there and apologises to Epstein victims and says, you know, people in power let you down, yet he appointed someone as our ambassador who was best pals with that paedophile, and he knew full well. What kind of apology is that? You know, I'm really sorry that he did that to you, but I kind of overlooked it and appointed him anyway as ambassador. How can he still be our Prime Minister?
But I just don't understand, you know, at the next cabinet meeting, you know, it's not exactly business as usual, is it? It's like, oh, hey, boss, sorry, I don't quite agree with the fact that you appointed the friend of the world's most prolific paedophile to the role as US ambassador.
I think what's very important here, Keir Starmer is a coward, and I tell you why. He's trying to make this Mandelson's fault. Let's be very clear. He was given clear advice. Mandelson has an ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Conversation. There is 1,000 good people who would have taken that job and been very good at it, yeah? But he pushed for that person. And at the heart of this, if you saw Kemi absolutely skewing him, but the most important thing about what went on in that conversation is a lack of support from Labour MPs. And we now, as a country, are relying on Labour MPs to do something on our behalf. Forget the politics for a second, yeah? We have a man who's shown such staggeringly bad judgment, they need to remove him. And if they don't, I think the country might take it out on them.
There is actually a clip, we'll come to it in a minute or two, I think, of Kemi Badenoch today offering Labour MPs the opportunity to go to her, go to the whips and do, as she would say anyway, the decent thing and get a vote in her confidence.
Now up to Labour MPs to do the right thing. I know there are many of them who are horrified by what has happened. We saw that in the House of Commons just yesterday. They might now expect the Prime Minister to take responsibility, but we know he won't. He will have to be dragged out of number 10. So, I am making them an offer. If they want the change they know the country needs, come and speak to my whips, and let's talk seriously about a vote of no confidence to force the moment.
Right, Matthew, they don't have to do that. If one or two Labour cabinet ministers go, takes the pressure off everyone else. Why aren't they?
Well, I'm not sure what other cabinet ministers directly have to resign for. Clearly, the Prime Minister is responsible for his actions, and we will be seeing as soon as they're ready to be published, and as soon as the ones that the Met police have said that can be published, so that they don't jeopardise any potential criminal investigations, because there may well be criminal proceedings out of these events. Let me finish, please, Layla. That we may well be seeing the Prime Minister will be judged on those. I'm not going to take any lectures from Reform about appointing people. They appointed a leader in Wales today. Their last leader in Wales, who was appointed by Nigel Farage, is in jail for taking money from a foreign power.
Sorry, are you comparing a party that was polling at 3% to government?
No, I'm comparing the judgment of your leader.
Are you actually trying to justify it by saying...
Do you want to justify the fact that your former leader, who Nigel appointed, is in jail for taking money from a foreign power, Layla?
The whole point of being...
Oh, so you're ignoring that?
I do think this is worse.
Yeah,
well, he may go to jail, but he may go to jail. That's the point. So Nigel Farage, on this basis...
Are you going to let me speak, or are you just going to yell at me the whole time?
Wow.
I'm not sitting here to be spoken to like that, so maybe I'll just...
No,
I'm not having it. Layla, you think you're special? You're not, OK? Sorry, absolutely not being spoken to like that, Patrick.
And this is where it really falls apart. Look at what happens every time they're pushed. The question is simple: who takes responsibility? But instead of an answer, they pivot, they attack other parties, they talk about unrelated scandals, they argue about tone, anything to avoid the core issue. because the truth is devastatingly straightforward. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't hidden information. By their own admission, Starmer knew about the relationship and still made the appointment. That's not a process failure. That's judgment. And once people realise it's judgment, there's nowhere left to hide.
The difference is that when you are...
Oh, you're not going to let Sean speak either?
You asked me a question. When you are a covert Russian agent, the whole point is that you are covert and no one knows. The difference is Mandelson, everyone knows.
Layla, this is about as convincing as the fact that on the 8th of January, you said that Robert Jenrick shouldn't be in your party. 7 days later, he's in your party and you're still in the party. If you had any decency, you'd resign.
Hold on.
You would leave Reform.
Let's be very fair. The problem here for Starmer is the scale of this. We're talking about the ambassador to America. We're talking about someone who is sending very sensitive,
and he might go to jail, Sean, absolutely.
Sensitive information to people who could definitely use that information. And I actually think if the real thing here is we need this to be looked at.
Is that Keir Starmer knew that Mandelson had an ongoing friendship with the world's most notorious paedophile when he made him the US ambassador. And I think by a lot of people's standards, that is a resigning matter. So why should Labour cabinet ministers now seriously not be considering their position as some kind of protest, as Starmer himself did in 2016 when he resigned from Corbyn's shadow cabinet?
I mean, yeah, as you said, the bar should have been, if you are friendly in any way with Epstein, you shouldn't be considered for that position. And Starmer's trying to blame it on vetting. It's not a vetting issue, it's a judgment issue. He made a bad judgment. And the question is, and I think I did read that he was also warned by MI6, and you wonder, what made him overrule that?
There's no stories now. What do you think Labour will be saying?
I just want to refer people to Rachel Reeves' behaviour when we were in government, when anything happened, Keir Starmer's behaviour, Angela Rayner's behaviour. Could you imagine what they would be calling for if the shoe was on the other foot? They would be doing backflips, calling for people's heads. And let's be clear, whatever papers come out subsequently is irrelevant. He was asked a direct question today. Did you know about Mandelson's ongoing relationship? Here's the thing, ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And he replied, yes. That's the end of it. Whoever told Starmer that he should appoint him is clearly crazy. That's enough. If anything else comes from this...
But also, obviously, Starmer, you feel he answers to someone. You know, he looked up the chain and they told him appoint him. And you feel that he's not really in charge. He's answering to someone because he overlooked... I mean, it's the Prince of Darkness. He looked at us in the eye today and he said, I believed his assurances and his assurances were wrong, right? Who believes the assurances of the Prince of Darkness? You know, everyone knew he's had scandals before. He knew he was Epstein's friend and he gave him the best job in politics.
Final word to you on this, Matthew. I mean, the Guardian's obviously going off on this procession of Labour MPs that are presumably not cabinet ministers, who are very unhappy. We saw Barry.
There's a lot of unhappiness for sure.
We saw Barry Gardner last night. You know, I mean, we know what his eyes were saying, don't we? About him going. Surely that has got to filter up to cabinet ministers. Surely.
Well, look, I mean, I think that what will happen is, when these documents are published, when all the facts are out there, people will make their judgment. Clearly, there's a lot of unhappiness at the moment, and there's a lot of questions that remain to be answered. So, yeah, I mean, is it a very, very difficult time for the Prime Minister? Absolutely.
OK.
This wasn't just an interview. This wasn't just another loud panel on GB News. This was a stress test for leadership, and it failed completely. You watched it unfold step by step. First, the outrage, then the excuses, then the deflection, and finally the shouting. Because when the facts are this bad, there is no clean defence. The simplest question, why appoint him, never gets a straight answer. Instead, you get investigations, documents, procedure, anything to delay the obvious conclusion. And here's what really sticks in people's throats. If this were the Conservatives, Labour would be demanding resignations within hours. They'd be calling it corruption, calling it disgraceful, calling it unfit for office. But when it's their own side, suddenly it's patience. Suddenly it's wait and see. That double standard is exactly why trust in politics is dead. You saw it. You heard it. You felt the hesitation every time they were cornered. Nobody stood up and said, this was wrong. Nobody accepted responsibility. Because protecting power matters more than protecting standards. This is a pattern. This is why trust is gone. And this is exactly why people are fed up. So be honest with yourself. Is this incompetence or cowardice? And would you trust people like this to run the country? If not, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell, because we're going to keep exposing it every single time.